Hello and welcome to the Untranslatable podcast. We are here today to talk about game shows in different countries around the world. And there's going to be some fun ones today. We're going to talk about the different types of game shows. And I'm also curious to see which game shows that my lovely co-host would actually watch. And also which ones are just too ridiculous to even spend time watching. So it should be a fun one today. So if you're curious to find out about some different game shows in some different places, this is just the episode for you. And I'm joined by my good buddy, my co-host, Jared. What's going on, Jared?
Sup, dude? I have a question for you just right off the bat, untranslatable related. Have you heard this untranslatable before? It's a Bavarian untranslatable.
Okay.
Der Junge ist ja total bedient.
Oh, I've heard that before.
Oh,
like
have you?
the guy is totally, technically it would be like the guy is totally served, I think is the literal translation, correct?
I don't know. That's why I didn't put it in the real untranslatable section.
There we go. I've heard it before. Isn't it like they're wasted or they get like schooled, as we would say? Another
I haven't heard
untranslatable.
that. That's not the translation I'm familiar with.
Okay. What's the translation that you know?
This is the most depressing fucking kid I've ever met in my life.
Really? Is that what that means?
It's from a TV show, and I just saw this the other day, and I cracked up laughing, and I'm like, this is why I love untranslatables. I'm like, I don't think that's what that means. I actually have the clip. I can play it for you. It's so funny to me.
Oh, please do.
It's so
Please
funny.
do.
All right, I'll play it. All right, hold on.
Dude, this is a great start. I'm excited.
And I just when I heard this, I just cracked up, and I'm like, this is why we do this podcast, because even though that is almost definitely not what he's saying, it was just perfect. Here we go.
Can too much hope possibly be a bad thing?
Hope is irrational.
In Bavaria we have a saying, der Junge ist ja total bedient. It means this is the most depressing fucking kid I've ever met in my life.
Oh my God, dude, I love it in that accent. This is the
Do you know
most
who that is? That's a very famous German person right there.
Who is
That's
it?
Werner Herzog.
Oh, that's why it sounded familiar.
Yeah.
Okay, I should have known that. Okay.
This is the most depressing fucking kid I've ever met in my life.
Right? That's the FC Bayern documentary, isn't it? No. Isn't that where that's from? No? What is that from?
It's from no. Is there a line like that in the FC Bayern documentary?
Oh, I could totally picture like somebody saying that.
No, it's
joking around.
It's from a TV show called The Boondocks.
Okay. That's funny though. Der Junge ist total bedient. Isn't that what he said?
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
And that you're right though, dude. That accent makes it a million times better, without a doubt. That accent makes it a million times better. Oh man. Well, dude, I want to talk to you about something at the top of the show, since we got to enjoy it together. But I still want to get your take on it now, since we've both had some time to let it marinate and reflect a little bit. But how about that Super Bowl halftime show, bro?
Oh yeah, weren't we together when we saw that?
We were.
Oh, okay.
That's what I just said. Yeah.
Crazy. Oh, did you say
No,
that?
we were together. I did. I thought that's what I said.
Okay.
We could rewind it to see, but yeah, I'm pretty sure I said. Even though you and I saw it together, I want to get your thoughts on it, because I've rewatched some of the clips, just bits and pieces of it. But how
about you give me your thoughts on it? Clearly, it seems like you have something to say. So you go first.
The first thing that I just thought was so funny was also all of the videos, like Instagram Reels, TikToks of people's quote unquote old parents freaking out about the show. But these are like really people like our age, or like 5 or 6 years older, or maybe 10 years older. But like that age where all of those artists were like a kind of a staple. I cannot imagine, dude, going to a party and not hearing one of those artists, if not 2 or 3 of them that night. Dr. Dre, Eminem, Snoop Dogg, Mary J. Blige, 50 Cent. And dude, the 50 Cent memes. Oh my God, so ridiculous.
Yeah, people are making fun of him, but he knows that he knows the internet, so apparently he's taken it in stride very well. When they say like the parents thing, they're like 40-year-olds, which I guess makes sense. They could have like that music is probably, besides for Kendrick, that music is probably more their era than it is ours. Like people that are like 10 years older than us, especially Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre. But yeah, I mean, if you think about it, it makes perfect sense that a 40-year-old could have like a, like a 18, 20-year-old on TikTok making fun of them. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Won't be me. My kids won't be making fun of me on TikTok because I'm not gonna have kids.
There you go.
Is that what you want to say?
Well, I think it's just great as well to see. I don't know if, correct me if I'm wrong here, Jared, because this could be an incredibly incorrect statement, but I feel like there hasn't been a Super Bowl halftime show that has been so like rap and hip hop focused.
Probably not.
Like there have been like some sprinkling in, you know what I mean? Who was it with? It was like Red Hot Chili Peppers, and then wasn't there a?
Well, it's already not.
Well, right, but that's my point, is that it was like Chili Peppers featuring like somebody came out and rapped with them, I think, or something.
I have no idea.
But right. So I don't know. I just thought that was cool. I feel like that is also just great halftime show music. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was surprising to see, to me, the Crip walking and all the Crip walking and the Crip signs. That was interesting. But yeah, I mean, you're probably right. This was probably the most like outwardly black halftime show in a long time. It was kind of weird though. I mean, I like the show and all that stuff, but it was kind of weird, because people talk about like quote unquote cancel culture and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. First of all, I think Dave Chappelle just got some sort of deal for some more Netflix specials. But anyway, so I think I could say I called it on that one when I said he was definitely not done. But anyway, right. It is weird to think that like there are a lot of people there are a lot of allegations and criminal charges on that stage between all of them except for like Kendrick probably and Smiling Ass Anderson .Paak and probably not Mary J. Blige. But there are a lot of accusations and criminal accusations on that stage. That was kind of surprising. Not surprising. That's not surprising. These people are everywhere, but just interesting. It was so funny too because there were people that were talking about how it's having all these black people is giving into like woke culture, and I'm like, I don't think Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre and Eminem and 50 Cent represent woke culture.
Yeah, I don't think so.
These are gangster rappers. I don't think they've ever been considered. It's like I don't think just having black people on stage means it's woke, but I do think it was a good step in the sense of like acknowledging the level of impact that these people have or that hip hop in general has on culture, and also the fact that they're in LA. It was cool. It was very LA focused. They had all those LA. They were for the most part, except for 50 Cent and Eminem, all LA people. So that was cool.
Yeah, that's really nice. The other crazy thing about the show as well was you hear about the controversy a little bit with Eminem.
I wouldn't call it a controversy. I think he's fine. You mean him kneeling?
Right. Yeah, it's not really controversy. I just think it's so funny that some people get so like offended or up in arms. Apparently the NFL also had like told him to not like do anything like that.
Did you see it?
But he's Eminem. Of course he's gonna.
Was it on TV?
Yeah, it's just at the very end
okay.
when he just kneels. But yeah, and so he was doing that in solidarity with like Colin Kaepernick and stuff, which I could see obviously why the NFL wouldn't want that, but he's Eminem, so he's going to do whatever the hell he wants, which I think is great.
Sure, yeah. I mean, that should be the least of their concerns. Snoop Dogg swore like 6 times up there.
Right. Didn't they like try to mute his mic or something? Because I thought
so.
like I couldn't hear him for a minute or so. Yeah, I wonder what the rules are. I bet you
I mean, there are. If it's not cable, right? It's just normal TV. There are definitely FCC rules about swear words on normal television. If it was cable, then there would be no rules, and you could say whatever you want.
Right.
But on like CBS, NBC, Fox, stuff like that, there are very specific FCC rules.
There's probably some fine involved too if you do swear.
Sure, of course.
Because I remember listening to obviously it's a little different, but I forget who it was. It might have been, I don't know if it was like Howard Stern before he got on Sirius or who it was, but somebody like had a caller call in and they were dropping F-bombs left and right. He was like, hey, buddy, like you need to stop it or we're going to, send the FCC on your ass or whatever the FCC. Would it be the FCC or something different for radio?
The FCC.
Yeah. Okay. So
My favorite
yeah.
thing from that halftime show was the pictures of Snoop Dogg smoking a blunt, and all the people on Twitter and Instagram being like, "You think you know a guy? I will never look at this guy the same way again."
Right.
I've just been let down by one of my. I thought
My
this guy was
idols.
an idol in my life, but now I look at him completely differently.
An upstanding family man, and how
And then
dare he?
It's so funny on Twitter because I don't understand this level of stupidity, but there are always the people that are like, "How did you not know this about him? If you're not really a fan, if you didn't know that he smokes weed," and it's like,
Oh, for
how do
sure.
you not understand the joke?
Do you not listen to his song lyrics?
and then there are all the pictures of like the like you, and then just the joke over their head and stuff like that, you know.
Oh, that's great.
But yeah,
That's kind of like when Willie Nelson dropped the song "Vote Him Out," which was like very like Democrat, like pretty left leaning, right? And then there were all those like Willie Nelson fans that were like, "I'm gonna burn your records."
yeah,
and
but they
burn
were
my,
serious. What I'm telling you is people joking. They were serious.
Right.
That's like the same with like the Rage Against the Machine fans. That's
Right.
The only difference is those people were serious,
right,
and the people I'm talking about were definitely joking.
for sure. Speaking of Rage Against the Machine, Jared, they never specify what machine. And if I would have a guess, I think it's probably a printer, because when those things get jammed, it is such a pain in the ass to fix.
Yeah. I still use inkjet, so I could definitely imagine the printer, because replacing those cartridges is a real pain in the ass.
Yep. Costs an arm and a leg as well for those. Yeah. But anyways, well, dude, I think you might know what time it is, I hope.
I'm guessing it's time for the Untranslatables. I don't
You
know,
better
but I'm
believe it,
guessing.
sir. You better believe it. It's time for some untranslatables, which are idioms, proverbs, sayings, axioms that don't always translate on a one-to-one basis into English, and we are your tried and true untranslatable experts here to decipher those for you. So, you want to get us started today, Jared?
Sure, dude. My first untranslatable is Slovak, and it's Pornokova Choroba, and it's a submarine sickness.
Submarine sickness.
Yeah.
Is that like when you have knots in your stomach?
It's
Like
not.
you feel nervous?
It's not a physical sickness, first of all,
Okay.
but you get it as a result of being in a submarine. Let's put it that way. For a long.
Oh, claustrophobia?
No. As a result of being the people you're around, it's a.
Oh, is it to be like easily irritated?
Sure, that works. I mean,
Okay.
yeah, sure. I'll tell you what it really is, but I'll give it to you. It's the increasing tension between people who spend a lot of time together.
Sure. Okay.
Submarine sickness.
Yeah.
I've been around you for too long. Nowhere to go.
Yep.
Quarantine sickness. That's what we can call it
Yeah.
now. We can all update
yeah,
it for the
for sure.
Slovaks.
There we go.
You're welcome, Slovakia.
Quarantinova, whatever the words for sickness was.
Choroba.
Choro, is that sickness?
I don't know.
Choroba?
I don't know which word is which. I don't know how they order their shit.
What were the words again?
Pornokova Choroba.
It has a nice sound to it, but yeah, I couldn't make heads or tails of it either. I was hoping I might be able to with my Czech skills, but clearly not. All right, Jared, I'm going to get you started with a Spanish untranslatable today, and this is tomar el pelo.
To sleep. Something about sleeping.
Nope.
Damn.
Tomar is to take.
Okay.
El pelo is the hair.
To take, the,
take
hair
the hair.
from someone else or your own?
Just says to take the hair.
Okay. So you couldn't. So from the untranslatable, it's not talking about. You couldn't. Okay.
I think it would
Good to
be.
know. Good to no. Okay. No.
Well,
don't
yeah,
tell me.
I don't
That's
know.
good.
It just says to take the hair.
Okay.
It doesn't say you to take mine or I take your hair. It doesn't say.
It's not related to like the English untranslatable, like the hair of the dog that bit you.
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
To take the hair.
We do have an English untranslatable, but it has to do with a different body part. Well, I don't. Is hair is not really a body
I think
part.
hair is a
it?
body
It's on
part.
your body.
It's a part of your body, isn't it? Is your hair a part of your body?
I guess it is. It is. You're right. So it is a body part. Well, this one is a much bigger body part, I would say, Jared.
Pulling your leg. You're messing with
Very
someone.
good, Jared. Very good. Yeah. If someone's like joking with you, oh, I'm just pulling your leg.
Yeah. All right. My next untranslatable is Spanish. I'm not completely sure where, but it's Spanish, that's for sure. No tener pelos en la lengua.
To not have To not have hair on your tongue.
There you go.
Okay. I'm surprised I got that one. To not have hair. I mean,
I ain't got
I'm
no hair on
picturing
my
it.
tongue.
Is it like if you're clean or you're
Listen, Chad, I don't have any hair on my tongue. You're really ugly.
so it's to be very direct?
Sure. Yeah, to be straightforward and honest.
Okay.
Not just direct, just so you know. Also
Okay.
honest. So
Damn, dude, I got this new haircut. I was feeling myself. I guess thanks for bringing me back down to earth, Jared.
I think your mom did that regarding your hair, though, talking about your impending doom.
Probably.
I don't think, me calling you ugly, that's just the icing on the cherry on top.
That's right. That's right. Well, my last one for you today, Jared, is Japanese. And it is Abura Ase Okaku, which means strong and thick sweat, or literally to sweat oil.
Is that to be like very nervous?
Very good, Jared. Great job. Yes.
Or as
exactly.
we say in the U.S., sweating like a. Are you allowed to say sweating like a HW word
Whoa.
in church?
A whore?
Yeah.
Isn't that how Daniel DeVito says it?
That's
Frank
how a lot
says
of
it.
people say it. Yeah.
Right. Or what's the other one? Also, isn't like sweating bullets? Isn't that also like when
Sure,
you're really
yeah, that's
nervous
another
and you're
one.
sweating bullets? Right. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's go ahead and talk about game shows.
What did you want
Jared.
me to say? What did you think I was going to say there that would make that
I
so-
wasn't sure if you had a great transition
Okay.
for us. I wasn't sure.
You didn't
'Cause
have
when I
it-
try to make a transition, you usually shit on them. So I was waiting for you to make one. So
Yeah, but I can't. You need to give me something to shit on first. Maybe you would have made
That's-
a good one, and then I would have just left it alone.
to sweat oil, Jared. Sometimes when you're on game shows, you might be sweating some serious oil.
That's a good one.
know?
That's a very good one. That's a great transition, Chad. I have nothing to shit on that, because sometimes when I watch game shows, I'm like, these people are freaking idiots. But it's like,
Right.
but it's not just knowing the answer. It's having the audience and camera and people cheering at you while you have to give the answer. That I can
And
definitely.
you have like the clock winding down sometimes too.
And it's like, there's nothing on the line for me. If I get this wrong, nothing happens.
it's kind of like that meme of like it's like watches someone do like a triple flip in the Olympics and falls, and like it's a fat person eating a bag of chips, and like you suck. You know what I mean? It's like
Exactly,
kind of
yeah.
the same thing. Like you have no stake involved. You're just a spectator.
Yeah. Doesn't have to be a fat person, by the way. I couldn't do
No.
it either, just to be clear.
Oh, me
So
either, for
if
sure.
I'm saying you suck, it's the exact same thing as a quote unquote fat person, as Chad would say. What are your favorite game shows, Chad? Some
I
game
think
shows
one
that
of
come
my
to mind for you when you think of game shows.
Well, the first one, actually, this is one that I don't even know if they still aired on TV, because it's definitely not politically correct by any means. But MXC, which originally was called Takeshi's Castle, which
you
was a
didn't-
Japanese game
You
show.
didn't even see the original version.
No, but I watched MXC quite a bit
Okay.
when I was younger. And that is technically a game show.
You count that as a game show?
Yeah.
Isn't MXC people like Americans doing their own commentary over?
Yes.
Why'd you start shaking your head?
Well, because I thought you were going to say Americans competing, but it was all Japanese.
I wish people could have seen that. I just started saying words, and Chad just immediately started with no, no, no.
Yep.
Okay, maybe, yeah, okay, yeah. I guess that is true. Wow, that's just Chad. This is your default. Is this? Let's start with no, and then he'll earn this yes.
And
Anyway,
you earned it.
isn't the show just Americans speaking over this Japanese game show?
Yes.
Okay. That's interesting that I'd consider that a Japanese game show. And then Americans took that Japanese game show and made like a comedy show out of it, almost.
Yeah. That's 100% what it is.
Okay.
You're absolutely correct. Yeah. But I mean, that was one I watched a lot when I was younger. Like I would come back from school and I think it would be on like FX or something. So I'd always like kind of sit down and watch that because it was just so ridiculous. But a big game show, like I spent a lot of
What
time
was
watching.
MXC? What was it about?
So it's based on this. Well, it's not based on it. It was taken from this show called Takeshi's Castle, which was a Japanese game show.
And that was a real
the premise
game
of the
show?
game show. Yes, it was a real game show. And the premise of the game show is you need to complete these obstacle courses. It's kind of like America, like the American Ninja Warrior. You have these
which I
crazy
think
obstacle courses.
was stolen from Japan as well.
Oh, I'm sure it was as well. That would not surprise me one bit. But anyway, so they have these crazy obstacle courses, and then with MXC, they overdub it with like ridiculous commentary, and stuff like that. But anyways, Takeshi's Castle, you had to complete these obstacle courses, and then you would quote unquote become like the king of the castle. But I don't even know if anyone actually ever won that show, because like that's kind of the point. Like all the obstacle courses are set up in a way where like it's so difficult just to get on to like finish one round. The likelihood of you finishing, and I don't know how many rounds the show was because I only saw it as MXC.
Sure, they just
so
took
they
the
obviously
best clips.
chopped it and edited. Exactly.
Which is why I don't.
craziest
I don't-
Wipeouts.
I don't think you can count that as a game show.
Okay. All right, well,
Obviously,
let me give you
if you were to have watched whatever the original was called, I can't remember that. Then yeah, okay.
Takeshi's Castle.
But you watched a comedy show that used that
Right.
game show as the. It's not like you were.
just took the highlights or the clips.
You
Yeah,
weren't
you're
even
right.
really. It wasn't even really about who was going to win or lose anything. It's about the comedy of like you didn't. It doesn't matter who wins or loses. Really, it's about the comedy of it. So I'm gonna push back and say that's not a game show.
Okay. All right, fine. Then let me give you a game show, Jerry.
By the way,
one game show.
I
that-
was right. American Ninja Warrior was stolen from the Japanese.
Was it Sasuke's Samurai or something like
Sasuke,
that?
yeah.
Thank you. Okay. Okay. So let me give you a game show, though. One game show that actually we watched here and there in college, but I also watched it in grad school. I think just for college nostalgic purposes is The Price is Right.
Yes. Price is Right. I definitely watched in college with you. That was a very popular. They also called it Ninja Warrior, by the way. It was I think it was called Sasuke.
What, The Price is Right? Oh, Sasuke. I was going to say, dude, I was so confused for a second there. I was like, how is Price is
I'm
Right?
confused. I can't tell if
Ninja
it's
Warrior?
called Ninja Warrior or Sasuke, but I see both. But anyway, that's hilarious. Yeah, Bob Barker initially started in a whole different direction. Then he started getting old. He's like, listen, I can't keep up with these people anymore.
I can't do these
Let's
stunts.
just do some price games.
Right.
Anyway, no. Price is Right. Is that where you really started watching Price is Right? Was college? Because to me,
I watched it a little bit with my grandparents when I was younger.
see, that's the thing. It's a grandparent show for me.
Oh,
Both
for sure.
Grandparents. I mean, your parents are older than mine, so
Right.
I can understand it'll be a little different. But also, not even just the grandparents, but also like homesick thing, the classic homesick show. If you got to watch TV. At noon, and it's like like Jerry Springer and Steve Wilkos and you are not the Maury Povich and all that
Oh,
crap.
geez. Yeah, Maury. Oh,
Montel
man.
Williams, all that
Right.
daytime crap.
Yep.
I got kids. I got a job.
Right.
Anyway, Price is Right is one of my favorites for sure. And it's definitely one of the ones that I watch. It reminds me of my childhood, but I did love. It was definitely a bonding moment for us in college too, where we all sit and
for sure.
eat lunch
Yeah, we'd
together
all
and
sit and watch
it. Yeah,
it.
we watched
It
Jerry
was
Springer,
fun.
then that, or that, then Jerry Springer, or something like that.
Right. Yep. And you know what's interesting, Jared, about Price is Right is there are a lot of iterations, I guess, of that same show in all sorts of different countries,
Interesting.
which
That's
I
not
think is kind
surprising.
of cool.
Do you know who the
Right.
current
Well,
host
it's a
is
pretty
of Price
good-
is Right, Chad?
Drew Carey, isn't it?
Very good. Very good. Yes.
Yeah, dude, I probably watched it like 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Oh, really?
It's been a while, but yeah, I watched it a couple weeks ago. Yeah,
I don't have
I had,
television like that anymore.
I had the day off of work. It was one of those days when we got hit with a ton of snow, and so they closed campus. So I had the day off, which was
See,
awesome.
that's what your employer gets for making you guys come in.
Right.
Although it's interesting that they don't make you work from home still. They're like, all right, well, you don't have to come in. That's great.
Well, so
Yeah,
it's
see,
funny you say
there
that.
you
They
go.
actually
Of
mentioned
course.
it, and then they were like, we're going to give you the day off.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Price is Right is
You know, it's the GOAT though, Jared.
What's the GOAT
which I'm-
for you?
Which I think
Ooh,
you
I'm
probably
excited.
watched once in a while too.
Probably. Whatever you're about to
Jeopardy.
say. That's the GOAT for you?
Jeopardy. Well, I think that's like one of the most well-known game
All right,
shows.
Pete Alex Trebek, by the way. For sure.
Oh, for sure.
For sure.
Pour one out.
Jeopardy, and that, by the way, I mentioned at the top of the show how you watch a game show and you think you think you know the answers, and then you watch them not get it, and you're like, you idiot. And,
Right.
and it's like, thousands of dollars aren't on the line for me. Jeopardy is one of those games that I always remember because that's another one that my grandparents. That's the evening game that comes on after after Wheel of Fortune.
Family Feud?
No, Wheel of Fortune.
Okay.
And Jeopardy is that's one of those games where I love to play it around my family members because it's like the classic. It's essentially cliche at this point. Where whenever someone gets an answer right, like with my grandparents or aunt and uncles around, it's like, oh, you should be on the show. Man, you're smarter than the people on the show. We've been making that same joke for the past 25 years.
Maybe you should test your luck on Jeopardy, Jared.
No. I'm not. No, that's not my kind of skill. Also, you don't make that much money on Jeopardy. To make money on Jeopardy, you got to be on for a long time.
Yeah.
Who
was that guy
Ken
that
Jennings?
was on for that guy? Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think he's one of the hosts now. I think they have a rotation, but I think he's in the rotation.
Well, Jared, you know what show you might be able to make some more money from?
Yes, that's one of my favorites. The original.
Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
Yes. Yeah. Okay, so that was a rhetorical question you were asking me?
No, it was rhetorical and literal.
Oh, you just didn't let me answer. Is that the opposite of rhetorical, literal?
I don't know. That's a good question.
I don't think so.
Probably not.
I think metaphorical is the opposite of literal. Rhetorical, and then I want you to answer. What's the word for, or I don't know. Anyway, I did love who. Do you know who the? I don't know if he is the original host, but he was the sort of quintessential host of the show, the one that everyone remembers, meaning me.
Oh, I can picture his face.
Yeah, also relatively recent RIP, although he hasn't been hosting the show for a while even.
I can picture his face.
Yeah,
What's
you can picture his
Jared?
voice
I don't
too.
remember.
I bet you can picture his voice.
You are not a millionaire.
Yeah, Regis Philbin.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yep, that's it. Yep.
Yeah, I used to watch that show with my family. Speaking of which, this is what show which is not like an iconic game show because it wasn't on for that long. But a game show I used to love was You Are the Weakest Link. Goodbye.
Oh, that's a good one.
With that mean British lady. Or not mean, stern, I should say.
Let me ask you this, Jared. Does the show Whose Line Is It Anyways, does that count as a game show? Or is that more just an improv comedy show?
I'm going to say that's an improv comedy show because, as they always say, the points don't matter. And it's
true.
The point system,
and they don't actually keep score,
and
right?
it's like you get 6 million, you get 1, and Drew Carey I don't think he hosts that show anymore. I think it's Aisha Tyler. Is that her name?
Yeah, I think you're right.
But I haven't watched. I don't think I've watched it since it's been Aisha Tyler. But I watched probably all of the Drew Carey era or most of them. And I'd say that does not count as a game show because points don't matter and no one's winning anything because they're all celebrities anyway. So no one's winning anything and the points don't matter and it's just comedy.
Okay.
A great show, by the way. Just to be clear. Not to discount.
For sure.
That was a show in college that in sophomore year, I remember specifically, it was on ABC Family at midnight, 11 o'clock or something like that.
Right.
And we used to that used to be appointment watching back in the day on Thursday or so. I don't remember when it was, but whenever it was, that used to be appointment watching for a school year. We used to love that show, cracking up at those jokes. So, but no, I wouldn't count that as a game show.
Okay. Are there any other big American game shows that you would watch when you were younger?
Of course. Did we mention Family Feud? I mean, only kind of barely mentioned it.
That's a good one. Yep.
And I would say, Steve Harvey is a problematic man in various ways, but he hosts the shit out of Family Feud.
Yeah.
He is so good at that show. I've watched a number of the guests, from Al from Tool Time to the other guy that was from the guy Jay Peterman from Seinfeld. I watched it with him. I watched it with R.I.P. Louis Anderson. I watched all these guys, all these generic white dudes, and none of them held a candle to Steve Harvey.
No, not even close.
Yeah. Because he took it. He says what we've all been waiting to say, and that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Yep.
I love it. Another classic one that I love, Wheel of Fortune, which I tangentially mentioned when I said it comes on before Jeopardy.
Yep.
there is that classic video where there was the college version, and there was that one black dude that I don't remember. He just horrifically was pronouncing everything horrifically wrong, and kept losing a whole bunch of obvious ones. And like the person next to him would be like, so he's not going to get that because he said it, but he said it horribly wrong, and then she or he would just say the obvious answer, then he'd just be standing there looking like an idiot. Wheel of Fortune, though. Wheel of Fortune is funny to me because did you ever watch Wheel of Fortune?
Only a couple of times. Also, like when my grandparents had it on.
All right. So you brought this topic up, yet here I am, the game show expert.
You are. Well, see, that's why we have two people on this podcast, Jay.
All right. I didn't. Yeah. I just didn't. I prefer sitting back and letting you talk, though.
I've got more game shows to talk about.
All right, go ahead,
Jared. We've only scratched the surface, my dude. Especially because all these game shows we've talked about are American game shows or Americans like a copycat from somewhere
another
else.
one that I think is a dumb one, but is super popular is Deal or No Deal.
Oh yeah, yep.
Or it's just people opening suitcases and it's just straight up gambling essentially. And then that banker dude up there, come on, get out of here. I like Howie Mandel, but that show has does not hold me at all. And then another one that doesn't hold me in the opposite direction, it's way too quirky. Is even though it's with, speaking of whose line is it anyway, it's with our boy Wayne Brady, certified comedic genius, but this show is not doing it for me, and that is Deal or No Deal. You know that show? No, you don't know that show.
Yeah. Deal. Yeah, you just mentioned it.
No,
as well,
I just
Jared.
mentioned Let's Make a Deal.
Oh wait, what's? Yeah, okay, no, I don't know Deal or No Deal.
Hold
What
on,
is
did
Deal
I
or
get
No
him?
Deal?
I think I might have. I think
Let's or no, is his Let's Make a Deal?
yeah, I
Is
got
that
him
what it's called?
backwards. I got him backwards. Deal or
Yeah.
No Deal is Howie Mandel, and then Wayne Brady is Let's Make a Deal.
Okay.
And that show is a little too wonky for me because they have like you can either win a card, or excuse me, you can either win a car if you choose this, or if you choose this, you win the bazonka, and it's like some sort of
Right.
car that's. And I'm like, this is a little too and they wear like costumes and shit.
Yep.
And I'm like,
That's right, yeah, and they'll call up random people from the
Yeah.
crowd, and then they have to guess stuff. You're
you
right.
could
Yeah,
win
I
a
have
new
seen that.
exercise set or a zinky winky, and it's like a squawk wah, and it's like,
Right.
all right, this is a little too goofy
You could
for
win
me.
an all expenses paid cruise
Yeah.
through, to the Bahamas, or you
that's-
get
and that's just like,
a letter cutter, or yeah.
And then I do like there's times where you can like double down, so it's not just a complete sort of like random, but it's just like it's too sort of
Right.
goofy for me. I don't know.
Sure. Well, Jared,
There's my
you
list.
mentioned
I'm
something
done.
that I want to touch on
Top
today,
American ones I gave them to.
which is what you mentioned something that I think is important to highlight. It doesn't hold you is something you said. So let me ask you this, Jared: what elements of a game show would be a way to keep you, on the edge of your seat, keep you entertained, want to continue watching it?
well, the here are a couple things. I'm a TV producer, if you didn't know, in my other job. You either need the watcher, the viewer, I should say, to be able to play along,
Okay.
or there needs to be some sort of physical stakes
Okay.
at hands. You also need the viewer to pick a side, pick like who they want to be. Who they want to. You pick a side. They need to be an antagonist or protagonist for that viewer.
Sure.
Family Feud does a
Sure.
good job of it. I always pick the black families, for example. Things like that. And also, there needs to be times where you need to give people both opportunities to win and then also opportunities to lose.
Especially lose it all.
Yes.
Like double down, like get double or lose everything.
Yeah. Who Wants to Be a Millionaire was good with that because you'd hit those milestones where it's like, all right, you hit 50,000, so you can't go below that anymore. So now that you're at 250,000, you can't go below that anymore. But say you're at 650,000, and it's like, well, the next milestone is 750, and if you go above 750, you won't go down to anything below that. But at 690, you're dropping down to 250.
Yep.
So that, even though you're still making a big amount of money, $400,000, that's good enough stakes to keep me interested.
Yep. Oh, for sure.
So I think that, just big stakes. And I think, we talked about the Japanese game shows. Generally speaking, they do stakes differently. There's a lot more physicality physicality at stake. Speaking of Japanese game, go ahead. Go tell me about the game shows. 'Cause I have a area that I'm curious if it counts as game show. But I'll let you go ahead first.
Well, Jed, I'm so happy though you mentioned, you probably saw the stupid, smile on my face, the stupid grin on my face when you started mentioning Japanese game shows, because there is just a treasure trove of different Japanese game shows. So let me ask you, Jared, if this game show would hold you, if you'd continue watching this. Our first one, Jared, for you is called Candy or Not Candy. So here's a little blurb for you. So in this deliciously hilarious and straightforward titled game, celebrity contestants must guess which several apparently inanimate objects are candy and which are not candy. They must then take a big ravenous bite of the objects they believe to be candy, thus ending up with a yummy hunk of sugary goodness or a humiliating mouthful of whatever random item that it actually is. The candy is made from Japanese sokuri sweets that can be molded into crazy, intricate shapes.
Yeah, I just typed it into Google, and I'm just looking at Google images. I see people eating door handles, shoes, picture frames.
Yep.
Tables.
One guy has
and
a diploma in his mouth, I can see.
Race car helmet. And I'm now discovering a very popular meme that I now I know where it's come from. There was a guy biting a door handle, and he has the piece of door. He clearly figured it out and chose candy.
Send me this meme.
I don't really even know when this would be used, but this is definitely a popular meme that I've seen before.
Okay. So you would watch this?
No.
Is what you're telling me? No?
No. Because I'd get bored after like 2 minutes. I would last. No, I wouldn't watch this.
Okay, fair enough.
Would you watch it
for you? I think I'd watch an episode or two, just because I think it's so ridiculous.
As a tourist, I would watch it and just like put it on TV. It's good for an American that turns on like a TV, or not even American, but someone that's a tourist and turns on the TV in Japan and doesn't speak the language, because the learning curve is low. It seems like.
Oh, for sure.
They chew it.
Oh, I know exactly what meme you're talking about now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, shoot, that's where that comes from. But it's just
that's hilarious.
I don't know. I need more at stake for physical entertainment. Like Ninja Warrior Sasuke or American Ninja Warrior. There's more at stake there physically than just biting into something, Now,
this next one, Jared, this one's a strange one. And this one does kind of give me straight out of Japan vibes. This one's called Orgasm Wars. Have you heard of this before?
Now, this sounds like porn.
I mean, that's kind of what it is.
There are a lot of that is a very popular pornographic category as this Asian sort of game show thing.
So now it's funny you mention that. Right here I'm reading the straight contestants of the show are actually male porn stars.
By straight you mean heterosexual?
Correct. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's their point? Porn stars.
Here's the blurb, Jared. In Orgasm
That's less
Wars,
fun if that as porn. They're professionals.
Well, here, just let me read the blurb.
That's like me doing a go-kart race at the local arcade, then getting all mad that I lost, and the guy takes off his helmet that I won, and it's Lewis Hamilton, and that's like, okay, well, this is not fair.
Right. Well, here, listen to this though. So here's how the game works. In Orgasm Wars, gay men attempt to bring straight men to orgasm and prove that, well, we're not really sure what they want to prove here. But the narrator's sure to make it sound like the ultimate sexuality showdown. The straight contestant, who is also a porn
like a
star,
frat initiation.
Kind of does, doesn't it? Yeah.
What?
Yep.
I'd watch this.
Yep. This is, it's interesting. So and here's kind of like the ending little tagline there for the blurb. Will one man's staunch heterosexuality be impeached by another man's sexual prowess? You'll have to find out for yourselves, because we stopped watching.
I'll say this: it's still kind of a bummer that they're porn stars, because I don't know, porn stars are a different sexual breed when it comes to even, I would say, gay encounters a lot of the time.
Right. Well, here, Jared, this one has maybe a little bit of a straighter.
Easier to get a porn star than it is to get just some person off the street to be like, hey, do you want to go on TV and have someone do sexual activities on you?
Right.
You'll win $100 if you don't orgasm.
Right. Exactly. Well, Jared, this one might be a little bit better for the people who maybe can't stomach the last one. This one is called the Human Slip and Slide. So the way this show works, Jared, is a lube-soaked middle-aged man attempts to slide across a slippery row of bikini-clad women.
What's the game?
A Japanese game show. What?
What's the game?
He has to get across the slip and slide. There's probably I'm assuming there's probably a timer. Maybe he has to get across it by a certain time. I don't know. This just has like blurbs of short, ridiculous game shows from Japan.
Horned up old. That's hilarious. I'm watching a clip of it.
Right.
I mean, I understand why the middle-aged guy would be into it, but I'm confused on the game aspect of it.
Yeah, it's
so you have no more. You're telling me about game shows, but you have no insight into what the actual game part of this is.
Not really, but let me talk to you about one that I do have better insight.
If I'm 50, I would do this for sure. Of course,
right.
But I don't understand the game,
man. Yeah, I don't really get it either. Well, let me tell you the premise though of another game, Jared, that was a Japanese game show that then became really popular in the U.S. And I think you've probably seen it before. Silent Library.
That sounds familiar, but I'm not familiar with it.
Have you ever watched it? No. So the premise of the show is there's like a wheel, right? Like you can spin it, and this wheel will have different
on MTV
pranks or things. Yep.
I looked at. Yep. I remember now.
Yep.
Yeah. Go ahead. Keep explaining it. Keep explaining.
Yeah. And so this game show originated in Japan, and the point is,
I see.
As most folks should know, is you need to be quiet in the library, right?
Yeah.
So they do these outrageous pranks, and then if their laughter gets above a certain decibel level, they like lose. And I think they lose money. Like they start off with a certain amount of money. If I remember correctly, they start out with like a certain amount of money, and then they, every time they laugh too loud, I think they get like a certain number of challenges they can lose, and then after that, like they lose the game.
Yeah, they're like hitting people in the face with cream pies. They're like sticking clothespins all over someone's body, or like putting one of those old school space helmets on someone's head, and they like fart into it. I do remember that show. Actually, I do love that show. I remember that show because I remember I like that show. I like that show. Because I love the I don't even really. It's not even the pranks. I enjoy listening to people whisper laugh. That's what I enjoy.
Oh, absolutely. See, that's the fun thing about, you mentioned audience participation. That's the fun thing about
you almost
that
try
show.
Not to laugh too.
Exactly. See if you can, not go above the decibel level for all the challenges, which is hilarious. Yeah. I mean, I just absolutely love that show just because it's such a funny concept. And the thing is too, I think
it's
most
harmless.
people
They're
can
harmless
relate.
Pranks too.
Right. Well, some of them do look kind of painful.
Some of them look kind of gross. And I mean, painful. Really? You think so?
Yeah, there was one where like they had like I don't remember now if it was a watermelon or an orange or something, but they had it in like a catapult. They like pulled it back and they hit somebody with it.
Watermelon, bro?
It was either a watermelon.
That's like the Amazing Race clip where
that poor woman, where she pulled the watermelon back and it turned and hit her in the face.
My favorite part was though her teammate was like, "You got to finish." After a watermelon exploded in her face.
There's a lot of stake here,
Jared,
for this game show.
But that's a good one. What else do you have for game shows?
Well,
go ahead. Sorry,
I do want to mention one last thing about Silent Library. The thing, and most people I think can relate to this situation, Jared. Whenever someone says you can't do something, it automatically makes it funnier. So like if you can't laugh, I feel like it's so much easier to laugh then.
Yeah, no,
because it's kind of forbidden.
I went to Catholic school, and in St. Mary's we had to go to mass twice a week on Wednesday and Friday, and I feel like there were a lot of silent chapel games being played during mass, where it's like someone does something, farts or something, and it's like if we laugh,
that's all
we're
it
risking
takes.
our early what do you call it? We had the
recess or
no recess. This was 11th and 12th. This was high school. No, on Fridays, if we weren't assholes all week, we'd get early release on Friday at 2:00 instead of like 3 or whatever it was.
I see. Gotcha.
But if we like fucked up in mass or something, then he would take it. He would, and it would be like a game show too, because we would always end mass with our headmaster, as it's called. I'm black. I don't like calling white people master, but they gave me no choice. They would beat me if I did, and I promise. Mass would always end with our headmaster giving us like a little speech or like updates or whatever. And on Friday, he would always save it to like the very last thing he said, and he would either just be like, "Have a nice weekend," or like sit there and pause and be like, "You're out at 2," and we'd be like, "Yeah." Or he'd be like, "Have a nice weekend," and then we'd be like, and we was like, "Oh, all right." He didn't say anything, and we just had to walk out all sad. Anyway,
okay,
that was my game show. That was my favorite game show in high school.
There you go. Well, let me give you a couple other ones in some different countries, Jared. So we've talked obviously about Japan, because I think when it comes to ridiculous game shows, and we didn't even scratch the surface.
You're done with Japanese ones? You don't have any more?
Well, I'd just like to move on to give some other countries some love. Otherwise, this whole episode could just be Japanese game shows.
We don't want that.
They have so many different ones. This one sounds pretty crazy, Jared. This one's called Farmen, and it's from Sweden. And as the name suggests, the premise of Farmen is kind of like Survivor with an Amish country twist. 12 contestants go and live on a rural farm, and they need to operate this in the style of 19th century agrarians. Each week, one of the participants is charged with doling out various chores assigned by a real farmer. Besides its premise, the Swedish show has another echo with Survivor, notably a nude contestant.
Nude?
Apparently. Interesting.
Is that even a big deal in Sweden?
Probably not. I don't think so.
I could imagine people doing that in the U.S., but I feel like in Sweden they'd be like, "Who cares?" They're like, okay.
Right.
It's just slowing us down, I guess. Yeah, true. But it's not. But yeah, I'm going to the sauna later today. This is just, I don't understand.
Right. Why are you naked?
I'm surprised that that's a big deal for them. I'm serious.
Right.
I'm surprised that that's like a twist.
Well, I doubt it's a big deal for them. But maybe
it's an aspect of the show.
Maybe it's just something. Right.
That's surprising.
Right. Yeah.
You know why I'm not interested in that? First of all, I don't like shows that are like this is like these are like these, like same with Survivor, where yes, it's a game show, and I'm not saying this isn't a game show or anything, but I don't like, this is like game show / reality show, like Survivor. Like part of the game is not just
or Naked and Afraid,
or even like Amazing Race, like I just mentioned earlier, which I did enjoy that. I kind of enjoyed it. I enjoyed watching it with other people, but I would never really watch it by myself. But I enjoyed it when I watched it with other people. But the thing I don't like about these shows is, it's not even just about the game. It's about the team relationships. It's like,
sure,
you could lose because you're trying to screw over a teammate, or you don't like this teammate, or that's a key part of it, is how you interact with people. And I imagine farming is the same way. It's not just the actual farming activities, but it's like the teamwork with some person that you hate for whatever stupid reason. And then as soon as the cameras turn off, you're laughing and having fun together. So I'm not a huge fan of the ones that have the reality show aspect to it. What about you? Would you be into the sort of the reality show aspect of it? I prefer just straight up game show stuff.
Right. It depends what I'm watching it for. I would agree that for the most part, I tend to go for more a typical game show, but sometimes it can be easy to get sucked into some of that, drama.
Well, for sure.
I mentioned Naked and Afraid. I've definitely seen that show a couple times, because it's just crazy to think you're dropped off in the middle of nowhere with no clothing, and I think you get like one or two things. And then you're like, usually like they pair up a guy and a girl. And then they have to like survive. Yeah, pants and a shirt. There you go. Good luck trying to make fire, Jared. Good luck being able to cut things. Good luck. Good luck with that, with your pants and your. At least if you cut yourself, you can rip off a sleeve and you'll have a tournament.
I'm a prude, so I'm very afraid of being judged on my naked body.
You don't want to just find a leaf that can cover up your.
I guess so.
Use nature to your advantage, Jared. Exactly.
But yeah, no, and that's true. For those sort of shows, I think when you, because for example, I mentioned Amazing Race, which I watched with X way back in the day with like her family. And when it was like, because they were into it, and when it was like the group of people watching it, then it was a lot easier to get into it because then it's easier to get on board with certain teams, and it's like this half of the room wants this team to win, but this half of the room wants this team to win. And when I'm with other people, then I can understand the enjoyment of it. But just by myself, that stuff really does nothing for me. I'm down for physical or sort of mental game shows, but I just don't want them to be. I just don't want it to be like, oh, they don't like each other, so this team's not going to work.
Right.
I want it
now
to be.
Let me ask you this,
oh, this
Jared.
person's not good enough, so it's not going to work.
Right. Now let me ask you this about another type of game show. Mm-hmm. What do you think about like contestant against contestant type of game show, like a music talent show?
Oh, interesting. I guess I never considered that as a game show.
So, well, here's one that I think would be kind of interesting.
Like American Idol kind of thing, or like whatever the one where they spin around the chairs and shit?
Yeah, what's that? The Voice? Is that what that one's called?
Let's make a deal. Is it The Voice? It might be The Voice. There's another one.
I think it's The Voice.
But there might be The Voice, yeah.
Right. Well, here's an interesting one, Jared. This comes from South Korea. It's called King of the Masked Singer. So what's interesting about this is, King of the Masked Singer contestants only wear a mask, so they don't wear a full-on costume. There is an American version of this.
Yeah, called The Masked Singer.
Yep.
I didn't realize that was originally Korean.
Yep. And one feature that's not in the American version of the show is the duet round. So during this duet round,
these masks
Jared,
are creepy.
They are. Aren't they?
They're like
scary
anime
looking?
characters.
Yeah.
What is the mask?
They look kind of like door guards, kind of.
What the hell is a door guard?
That's in like a lot of Asian cultures, or at least, well, I shouldn't say a lot. I know in at least Chinese culture, they have these paintings, and they have these like intimidating looking, door guards, these creatures that will ward off evil spirits. That's
like a dragon or something.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yep.
Oh, I see.
But what's cool about this one, though, Jared, is the duet round. So the duet round, the singers face off by singing the same song, which gives the viewers a much more equal comparison between the two contestants.
Oh, that's interesting. That would get me more into it than the masked singer. This show exists in the U.S., bro? Dude, I've heard of this show, and I've heard commercials somewhere. I did not realize this is what this show was until I just looked this. That's hilarious. This show has somehow been infused into my brain via marketing and stuff, but I did not realize what this is until I'm seeing this now. And I'm like, this is kind of creepy. This reminds me of Spy Kids, where the Fugalies or whatever they were called, where they photocopy the pictures of the clay.
I think so, yeah.
That's what these look like. This show was recently in the news because Rudy Giuliani was in it, and people walked off stage.
Yeah, the judges left.
So was Giuliani singing? Is that what was happening?
I think so.
What was he doing, or was he dancing? Hold on, can I look this up? Because
of course, go for it.
I did not realize what the hell this show was.
I did see that Rudy Giuliani was on some game show that was singing related, so that might have been what it was.
You know what? When I think of sort of talent shows like this, I know that obviously we have a shit ton of them here in the U.S. as well, but I think of Europe for some reason. There's that popular Euro something, Eurostar or something like that.
Eurovision?
No, Eurovision's a channel, isn't it?
You're right. Yeah. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
It's some super popular.
Yeah, that's how
Eurostar.
Conchita Wurst got famous.
It's some European talent. European talent show.
It is Eurovision.
Oh, it is Eurovision. All right, my bad.
Look at that.
My bad. I thought that was a TV station for whatever reason. Oh, maybe I'm thinking of Univision. That's what I was thinking of.
Oh, that might be
Univision. Yeah. But yeah. I remember that when I moved to Germany, and I wasn't interested in it or anything. But so I know that sort of the same way I know Masked Singer. You can't be in this country and not know this. This giant show. But yeah, for some reason, and not. I think of Eurovision is a super popular one that I'm familiar with. But there are a shit ton of them. A bunch of them. England, I feel has a bunch of those shows. I just feel like
Britain's got talent.
And I know America poached that angry British dude. What's his name? Simon Cowell.
Simon Cowell. Yeah.
That's one of America's top imports. Angry British guys.
Right. That's true.
Because what's his face? That Cook. He's really. Oh, that's a whole nother lane of game shows, by the way. The food ones.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Now this is one I don't.
Hell's Kitchen, right?
Hell's Kitchen. Is that one? I know that's
I think so.
I think that's one of those. But I thought that was one of those like
Great British Bake Off.
Oh, Hell's Kitchen is the Gordon Ramsay one. Is that the one where it's like I'm an idiot sandwich or whatever?
I think so.
Oh no, that's not. Hell's Kitchen is kind of like Iron Chef. It looks like to me. That's what That's what I see. Oh, maybe not. No, you're right. It is. That is what it is. But Iron Chef was actually, speaking of Japanese, once again, I believe Iron Chef is originally a Japanese game show that the Americans adopted.
They're the best. I think the Japanese clearly they've got the track record.
The game show masters. I'm pretty sure Iron Chef, because I know it from I'm pretty sure that's a Japanese show that the Americans took over. I remember though, my parents are big. They're big fans of cooking and whatnot. And I specifically remember one of my favorite cooking game shows whenever I visit my parents, although I don't know if they're still into it. I think they might be past that phase. I'm talking about my parents like they're children. But I'm pretty sure, what is it? Oh, Chopped. I'm a big fan of Chopped. Are you familiar with that one?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've even seen Chopped before.
Chopped is...
And that's where they like rate all the different, right? Don't they have 3 or 4 chefs that are the judges?
They have a number of chefs and they have multiple courses. And they give you like a whole bunch of ingredients that you can use anything in the meal or anything that they have there, which is just about any sort of normal ingredient. But you have like 3 or 4 specific sort of weird ingredients that you have to use. So it's like for this, we want you to make a like a starter, some sort of like starter meal, and it's like you have to use like salmon, walnuts, and like lemon heads or something,
Right.
And it's like from that you have to make some sort of meal, and then they, I believe each round they remove someone, and then I'm pretty sure, I haven't watched it in a while, but anyway, I like that show.
Oh,
and they're proper chefs. I like that, and I like that show. I do like that show. Go ahead. What do you like?
You know what show that kind of reminds me of is Forged in Fire.
Oh, I'm not familiar with that one.
Where they have to create like different types of knives or blades and stuff, and they only have like a couple hours to do it, and they get like very basic, stuff, and that's pretty interesting to see like the different.
So they have like a bunch of
knives and things.
Blacksmiths, essentially.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, this show
is crazy.
Looks like it was made for Spike.
Yeah. Forged in Fire.
Oh, there's a British version of it, by the way.
Of course there is. Forged in Fire.
Forged in Fire.
Now, would you watch this one, Jared? This one seems interesting. This is from Canada, and it's called Man Tracker.
No.
So this is about a man who's an expert tracker who pursues contestants through the wilderness. The teams of contestants have 36 hours to elude capture and make it to the finish line.
Oh, that's
While there
interesting.
are no monetary or physical prizes to be won, the bragging rights that come with success aren't insignificant.
No,
Only
they're
20% of the teams that have competed have made it to the finish line.
It's like the ultimate... what do you call it? Those escape rooms. It's like the ultimate escape room, essentially. Yep. The name, a terrible name.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, just terrible name. I'd be interested. Yeah, I wasn't interested. The name really turned me off, but I'd be interested. I thought it would be more like, I don't like this idea of like
someone hunting people down.
No, I don't like this idea of like male feats of strength, really. And it's like. Because this
people tracker, is that what they should call it?
Yeah, because women could be good at this too. Maybe
they could be great at it, for sure.
A man might be quote unquote stronger at some specific aspect, but you could easily work in like various sort of. I don't know. It just seems so. The name is bad, is what I'm getting at.
I agree,
and I really don't like the name, but I'm interested in the show. I like the idea of like escape room kind of show. That's cool.
Okay. How about this one, Jared?
Is that an American show, by the way?
It's Canadian.
Canadian.
Man Tracker is Canadian.
Interesting.
That's why the name is terrible, Jared. You know, if that was an American, they'd have a better name than that.
I disagree, but I feel like it would be hard today for a name like that to pass like network executives.
True.
Because
I agree.
it's so what do you call it when you like exclude?
Not PC?
No, not even PC, but it's so like limiting, like
exclusionary.
Yeah, but that's not the word I'm looking for. Yeah, but essentially, yeah, that's not the word I'm thinking of. But yes.
Okay. How about this one, Jared? This is out of France. This is called Fort Boyard. On Fort Boyard, contestants are faced with rounds of puzzles, obstacle courses, and Fear Factor-style endurance challenges. Which is interesting, though, because this show actually premiered in 1990 before Fear Factor. So anyways, this is all staged in a real fort in the middle of a strait in the Bay of Biscay that was actually first created.
What's the show called?
During the reign. It's called Fort Boyard. Okay. Boyard. So this is
like
this
the
is
name.
actually
these names are intense. Oh, it's literally like a war.
It's
fort.
literally a fort. Yeah, it's literally a fort.
That's so
Can you
funny.
imagine that though? Getting sent to a fort to like compete in a game show.
That's so European too. They're so like overflowing with history that they can use this as like as for a game show, you know? Right. Where it's like no, we don't even need to. This could be a museum, but you know, it's just another old thing here. It just bothers me that I wish we could be we didn't get rid of. I mean, we don't have this much history in the U.S. period. Right. But I don't know. I love that about Europe.
Oh, yeah. Well, speaking of Europe, Jared, how about this one? This one is called Wetten, das, and from the name, I'm pretty sure you can tell it's from Germany. Mm-hmm. And this program actually it's kind of a variety show. So it's a game show and a talk show.
But you have to bet.
And it's been...
So you have like
to
money?
Bet things. Yes. Okay. And it's
have you seen this before?
Since I've seen bits and pieces of it.
I've never heard of it. I mean, it looks like it's super familiar. It's been around since the 80s.
Yep, exactly. And the show can run as long as 3 hours.
I feel like game shows. What? What is this episode of Joe Rogan?
Right.
Oh, damn. Whitney Houston was on an episode.
Really interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it looks like
Couldn't
it's also.
She like speak some German?
I don't know, but it looks like it's also a talk show.
Yep. Well, yeah. It's a
I think she was
a game show.
I think she was
just
interviewed.
Yeah. Right.
I feel like it's interesting. You know, I feel like game shows should be more like intertwined into language education. Because it seems like a great way to get kids involved and then also require them to have some sort of like, you know, respond as well to the input. Like a German Family Feud or something like that would be a great sort of like way to get kids involved. Anyway, go ahead. Tell me about that and us.
That'd be fun.
You lost me at 3 hours, but go ahead.
Well, that was really all I really wanted to say is where they basically bet on random things. So they'll bet on like the outcome of like a sporting event. So someone might be like, what do you think Bayern Munich, did they, win or lose against the first game they ever played against Dortmund, and what was the score? And then you like bet on it and stuff. And I think, if I remember correctly, I think they can like ask almost like any ridiculous questions they want. So it's like you could bet on like how many, I'm trying to think of like something. You could like bet on the number of Air Jordans that Drake has in his collection, for example. Like just basically like have all these really random questions,
right?
Which is why I think it's interesting.
So it's more it's just fun gambling more than like skill.
Yeah, it's not like
it's not like Jeopardy.
It's not.
You can't really be good at it by like knowing facts.
Right. So here, this one's pretty crazy, Jared. This one's from the Netherlands, and this is called Entegen 100. I'm sure I said that wrong, but basically, this is a knowledge-based game show where contestants face off against one or two other people, occasionally more. On Entegen 100, a single contestant faces off against 100 opponents. In order to win...
100.
Thank you. Let's see here. In order to win, the one contestant must eliminate all 100 other opponents by correctly answering a multiple-choice question. If the one answers correctly, any members of that 100 that answered incorrectly are eliminated. If the one ousts all of the 100, they get the prize money. If the one fails, the prize money is split between the 100 people.
I'm on board with that. That sounds like a fun game.
Yeah. I could see that getting pretty fun.
And that's a game where you can play along and know the answer or not know the answer. Here's a question for you, Chad. Let's see if you know the answer to this one. This is shoot. I didn't realize they're about to play a video. Here's a question for you. Let's see if you know the answer. It's a multiple choice question. Hoe worden de woorden in vriendinnen van Engelse voetbalspelers vaak genoemd? Habs, wows, wags. Oh,
Something
I actually
about
understand
a girlfriend? What? Read it again for me.
Hoe worden de vrouwen in
Something about women.
Vriendinnen van Engelse voetbalspelers vaak genoemd. So I think it says, you're right about
women's
vrouwen,
soccer team,
and it's English football players.
Okay.
And I think it's something about what do they call? I think I know because I know the answer. I can see it right here. I get it. They're asking, what do you call the girl? What do you call the girlfriends and wives of English football players?
What do you call them?
Wags. I saw this wives and girlfriends.
Oh,
I saw this on
okay.
because I stumbled Formula One because they did the same. You follow a bunch of Formula One stuff, and next thing you know, in your little search section, it's like I click on a picture of some Formula like Pierre Gasly and his girlfriend, and it's like, oh no, I clicked on like Wags, a Formula One.
Right.
And I'm like, I don't want this now to be what I'm getting.
Sure.
I just saw a picture of Pierre Gasly and I got excited. But anyway, that's how I know that. But yeah, sorry. So it's just like a multiple choice game show. Yeah, I could easily get into that one.
Okay. Well, Jared, here's one other one. This is coming out of Russia. This is called What, Where, When. And this has been around actually since 1975.
It's interesting the title's in English.
Is the title in English?
You just said what, where, when.
Well, it's Что, где, когда in Russian.
Sorry.
Sorry, I was reading the blurb is in English, which is why the title is in English.
I understand.
But yeah, it should be Что, где, когда. I'm pretty sure if I'm reading the Cyrillic correctly. So the way this works, so this show centers around this giant spinning wheel, but on the show there's a team of quote-unquote experts and then a team of viewers. So I kind of like that, Jared. You mentioned like the protagonist, antagonist, pitting people against each other. Well, here you have the quote-unquote experts, and then you have the viewers. So you have your average Joes, the viewers, and then you have the experts,
You know who
right?
does that well, by the way? Jeopardy. With
Yes.
the idea of the person, like if you win, you can come
Phone
back.
a friend?
No, I said
Oh, that
Jeopardy,
too.
not Who Wants to Be
But
a
yeah,
Millionaire.
that's millionaire. Right.
The idea of the protagonist and antagonist, where you can have the person come back, where it's like, do you want the underdog new person to win, or do you want to see this continue? This person that's been here to continue to whoop on these new people? Anyway, go ahead. Tell me about Svol, the other.
Что, где, когда?
Yeah.
So basically the team of experts and team of viewers gather around to see what question the wheel will land on, and then they have to figure out the answer within 60 seconds.
Of what it will land on? Oh, whatever it lands on, you have a 60 seconds
They have to answer the
and
question.
it's just like
yeah.
some sort of trivia question.
Right.
Okay.
Well, what, where, or when? Yeah.
Oh,
Which I wonder how
I
often
see.
the viewers beat the quote-unquote experts. And what qualifications does it take for you to be on the quote-unquote experts team, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe you're a chemist and they're talking about chemistry or something like that.
Or you're a history
Mathematician,
buff when they're
you
talking
know.
about the when?
Yeah, what's the
Right.
Pythagorean theorem?
Is that A squared plus B squared equals C squared?
Very
Am I
good,
right?
very good. What's the quadratic formula?
Oh, is that something MX equals B or something?
MX.
I don't remember.
No, that's the formula for slope. MX plus B.
That's right.
MX plus B.
That's right.
No, the quadratic formula is more complicated than that. I don't know what it is either off the top of my head.
Right. Well, Jared, you know a game show I could compete in because it doesn't take too much brain power, I don't think, is we're going to end today, I think, with Japanese, which is Slippery Stairs.
Is it
which, just as the title suggests, basically the show, like, you see these people wearing, they almost look kind of like Power Rangers to some degree, or like they wear like an all, yellow or blue or pink jumpsuit with a matching helmet, and they have to get up the stairs.
I mean, I am watching it. I mean, the suits are hilarious. They're like latex. They look like they're wearing condoms, essentially. I mean, this really just like goes at the humankind's base entertainment level, which is watching someone fall. I mean, this game show reminds me of the crosswalk at our college, Albion, from Wesley across the street.
Dude.
There is a specific spot where if you don't know that crosswalk, it's inevitable that you're gonna slip and eat shit, because there was just a giant, like, right, because it's sort of like water pooled there, and it just turned into like a giant, like a lake, a frozen over lake of water. So any student knows that you have to walk around through the snow, like, just completely disregard the sidewalk for that part. And from a mile away, you could spot someone that clearly doesn't know that, and you're like, this person's about to eat it, and and it would be a source of entertainment for us freshman students, because we're terrible people. So.
True.
That's why this game show, I could imagine being very successful. The only thing that would make watching those people slip better is if they were dressed up in colored condoms, like the people on this show. Right? All right.
Yeah, I mean, it's really great, Jared. All the different types of game shows around the world, whether they're knowledge based.
What would you prefer?
I would say you could even,
if you break it down to that's knowledge based.
Yep.
Physical based,
pain based, yeah,
or like reality show based, like Survivor, or where it's like the teamwork of like our interpersonal relationships are key.
Right.
Let's say those three: physical, knowledge.
Wait, you forgot one.
Or random.
Another one is also just money.
Yes, random.
I think like money. Yeah, like guessing.
Yeah, I want to go full random as well, where it's like pick this one or this one, as well. Yeah.
Right. I like the physical ones because they're just so funny.
Yeah.
And it goes back, Jared, I know you said it doesn't count, but it goes back to MXC or Takeshi's Castle.
Well, it counts in the sense, it doesn't count for you when you claim it as your favorite game show.
Right.
But it counts when we talk about how it harkens back to that, because it is, what you're looking at is a real game show. And what made that game show, I imagine, part of what made it so successful is that same physical comedy that makes the comedy show so successful. So even though what you're talking about is not a game show, still what made the original game show successful stands the same, and it's watching people fall and hurt themselves in stupid sort of physical challenges.
Exactly.
I like the.
What about you?
I like the intellect ones. Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, Jeopardy, that kind of stuff. Not even Wheel of Fortune. That's almost a little too easy. But I do like, or even like, I'll even take like Family Feud, like stuff like that, where makes you feel smart a little bit.
Right.
And
well, Jared, if you want to learn Russian, you can start watching that Что где когда game show.
I almost started watching a French movie yesterday, but they didn't have any subtitles, and I'm like, what am I doing?
Or you could watch that Fort Boyard.
What's that?
Because they have that was the French one in that like weird military fort. But it sounds like they have some like puzzles and mind aspects to it.
Yeah. See, also the good thing about the intellect-based ones is you have the payoff of getting an answer. So, like, even like, it's fun to watch people hurt
when you're following along.
It's fun to watch people hurt themselves, but I enjoy the actual payoff of like, oh, I got that right. There's some sort of more satisfaction to me there of knowing I got it right versus the satisfaction of just watching people hurt themselves.
Oh, 100%.
Which, by the way, listen, I'm not shitting on you. I agree. That's very satisfying. I just would prefer the other one as my ideal game show.
Sure. It definitely is fun to watch, that's for sure.
I'm not saying physical stuff is not satisfying. Because, for example, American Ninja Warrior is a very satisfying show to me. And what I like about that one is I actually do like American Ninja Warrior. I never watch it. I would enjoy it, like if I'm getting my oil changed or like my tires serviced or whatever, and I'm I'm in a shop and it's on the TV. I'll happily watch it. And what I like about that one is, especially American Ninja Warrior, is it feels like something I can do. You know?
Sure.
So like when you watch someone like in a condom and they're lubed up going upstairs. It's like, yeah, I could do that, but that's like a level of just chance as well too. Like, yeah, there's skill, but it's not like you can train and prepare for that. But like American Ninja Warrior is probably a lot of these like CrossFit freaks that properly train for this thing. And it's like, and there is that sort of aspect of like, oh, I can do this. And so when you see them fail, it's like, I see how you could have jumped, and my cunning quick reactions would have adjusted for your failure. So I'm just saying all this to say that I'm not even downplaying the physical games, because I'm a big fan of those too. It's just not my favorite.
Sure. Understandable. Well, folks, let us know your favorite game show at untranslatablepodcast@gmail.com. You can also slide into those DMs on Twitter, Untranslatable1, the number one. Check us out on Instagram and YouTube, Untranslatable Podcast. And please, 5-star reviews on iTunes. Let us know how we can make this podcast better for you. So as we say here at the Untranslatable Podcast, dziękujemy, muchas gracias, shisha, and do svidania.
You know, you lost over Fear Factor. Were you ever into that show?
I never really watched it. I saw it a couple of times, and it just grossed me out to the point where
I'm not into being like voluntarily grossed out. That's not my thing. No. Same with the new Jackass came out. You like Jackass, don't you? Have you seen the new one?
Yeah, I haven't seen the new one. No.
Okay. I'm not a Jackass person. That's not my kind of humor. But there was a podcaster I listened to. He's a comedian, but he's like in his mid-40s or something like that. And he's like, I watched this. He's like, I think I'm an adult. He's like, it was hard to watch, especially now since they're like in their late 40s.
Yeah, so I think some of them are even.